Okay, welcome to our infant rolling tutorial. We'll start, we've made it sort of a big practice area here, but your 2-mat setup will be perfect. You can start face down with your arms overhead. We'll start with the lower body roll. So arms up overhead, and if you can, forehead down. We'll start with the left leg lifting. So the left leg lifts straight up from the hip, and the glute activates. And then on an exhale, take it down. So we'll first go through a full roll. Again, I mentioned there's 2 ways to practice this. We'll start with the full roll, which you'll do for tension relief and for integration. So the left leg lifts and crosses over, lifts just about 6 inches, just high enough to cross the right leg. And moving slow, once you get to about this point with the leg across the left, let the foot drop towards the floor. And then the weight of the foot will roll the body from front to back. Good, and we'll go back the other way. So from back to front, the left foot lifts just high enough from the front of the hip. So the core actions are held in place and the torso doesn't move. Crosses over the right leg. And then once it gets across the right leg, let the foot lower to the floor, and then let that effortlessly take you from back to front. Good. So that's a full body lower roll. And then take the left arm out to the left side and look to your left. So looking towards that hand, we'll start with the head and hand lifting at the same time, and then lower. So as you're doing this, try to feel that the glutes don't activate at all. So the glutes are totally soft during this whole process. So looking towards your left fingertips, head and hand lift. Good, and lower. Good. And then this time we'll take the full roll. So head and hand lift, and your gaze stays towards the fingertips, and you reach back and up. And then the upper body weight rolls the lower body from front to back. Good. So then from back to front, looking towards the left hand, hand lifts and head lifts at the same time. You're reaching up and across, and you'll reach an interesting point where you want to try more to get across, and the head is actually going to get heavier and the arm gets heavier, so that it's actually less effort that's going to roll you from back to front. Let's try that with the upper body one more time, over and back. Head and hand lift at the same time. Glutes stay relaxed. Good, and then keep coming. Gaze stays towards the fingertips, and you roll from back to front. Good, and then hand and hand lift at the same time. Gaze stays towards the fingertips, and it's like you're reaching for something up and across, and then releasing that effort to roll from back to front. Okay, so that's sort of a full motion of the infant roll. And then the second way of practicing is where we'll stop in between and do some soft tissue work. And this is how we'll neuromuscularly refacilitate this X pattern in the back body. So scoot over a little bit this way, Mads, and then switch directions. So we'll go right arm out to the right, left arm up overhead, head and hand lift at the same time. So as you're doing this, good, come back down, you may feel that this opposite glute is activating. So beginning at the very first moment, you may feel that this left glute is activating. If it does, to neuromuscularly refacilitate, you pause there, take a big deep breath, soften the deep core, soften the glutes, and then maybe take another repetition, seeing if you can keep the lower body totally relaxed as you lift. Good, and lower. So in this way, the movement is like an inquiry. You're trying to feel deeply the cross pattern movement. So the muscle tension in the shoulder will often cause the left glute to activate, even though you're trying to keep it relaxed. So try one more time, a lift. Good, and keep coming. Good, and if it stays relaxed the whole time, then you can do the whole movement from front to back. Good. So if you weren't able to soften in between with just a deep breath, you would stop and do some soft tissue work on the glute or in the shoulder. We'll do it with the lower body now, both arms up overhead. With this way, you may be feeling that the shoulder activates. So we'll go with the right leg, lifting just high enough. Good. So the first part, you may need to really do a couple of rounds to feel that the action really comes from the front of the hip. So inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Good. And then inhale, lift, and start to cross over. Good. And everything stays totally relaxed. Good. What you may find is that your head will move, your shoulders will move. And if that's the case, then stop, pause, and do soft tissue work there. So in the guided practices, it will give cueing for all of these things, but this is a visual way of seeing the two different types of ways that you could practice the infant roll.